the Spirit Sessions podcast. I'm your guide, Katie Silcox, bringing you your weekly self-love soundbite. Join us, where I'll help you find your true spiritual home, where every single aspect of you is holy ground, holy ground, holy ground, holy ground.
This is a Spirit Session podcast with Katie Silcox. Venga chicos, empezamos.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hi everyone, Katie here. This podcast is intended to inspire you, educate you, and most importantly, support you on your journey towards knowing who you really are, that inner self, that inner teacher. I am not a psychologist or a medical doctor and do not offer professional health or medical advice on this podcast. If you are suffering from any kind of psychological or medical issue, please do the right thing and seek help from your qualified health professional. Hey everyone, I want to let you know that this week's podcast is brought to you by one of my favorite companies. We work with them all the time, Banyan Botanicals. You can find all the info, banyanbotanicals.com. I've got it in the show notes, but today I want to talk about one of my favorite supplements. It's Triphala. Sometimes my digestion's not perfect. I get bloated, sometimes irregular, or feeling heavy after meals. I know that I'm not alone in this. This is the number one thing we hear at Shakti School. And something that I take that really does offer a noticeable change for me is Triphala. And I use Banyan Botanicals brand. It is the traditional Ayurvedic formula. It has been used for thousands of years. It's not a harsh laxative. It is about gently supporting your system so things can just work better. And what I love about Banyan Botanicals specifically is that their products are super high quality. They focus on organic herbs, sustainably sourced, and you can really feel how much this company cares about their product and the planet. I take it at night, and it's become one of those simple habits that just helps me feel more balanced overall. So if you've been struggling with digestion and are like, how do I start? I want something natural. I recommend starting here with Triphala. Go to Triphala at banyanbotanicals.com and I'll link it in the show notes. Enjoy the podcast. Hello, hello, hello. It's your Ayurveda Gal Friday. Katie Silcox here for you on Spirit Sessions. I'm outside. It's May. I'm with my puppy. She's chewing on a bone. So guess what? You might hear some dog sounds because she's not afraid of barking, but I wanted her to be out here with me. We have a juicy podcast for you today. You know, it's my intention that when I find something out about my own life that has been interesting, helpful, or in this case, kind of disturbing, that I have to immediately share it with you all. So I'm going to do a podcast today for you on erythritol. Have you heard of Stevia? Are any of you out there trying to eat clean and keto and low sugar or blood sugar friendly or low carb? So, it's like, man, so often, every single time I just keep coming back to the basics of Ayurveda, which is if your grandmother doesn't recognize it, it's probably not the best for your body to eat. And so today we're going to talk about, not to be alarmist, but is this stuff safe or is it really bad for us, especially our blood vessels? So there's something a little bit unsettling happening in the wellness world right now, and it's that main ingredient in most stevia sweetened products. So there's a difference between pure stevia and what's called erythritol. So there's a new study out from the University of Colorado Boulder, and it is raising some questions about how this sweetener interacts with our blood vessels and even our brain, which as we age, blood vessel health and brain health are pretty much the most important things, to be honest. So let's talk about what the science actually says without any alarmist drama, and why this really matters for your health long term, and then what Ayurveda has always said about sweetness. because this is like one of those moments where the ancient wisdom and the modern science can really like nod at each other across the table and work with each other. So, okay, let's break down this study. And I'll include the link in the show notes for those of you that want to read the actual study. But they looked at cells in vitro. And so what that means is they're not doing this on mice or on humans. They're doing it on actual cells in a petri dish, but they used human endothelial cells. And those are the cells that are in the lining of your blood vessels, including those in your brain. So guess what? They expose these cells to levels of erythritol, hard to say, similar to what you'd get from a typical sugar-free drink. So, okay, confession time. I freaking love Zevias. They're these like sodas that are stevia sweetened, and I started just drinking like one every now and then. And then I started drinking like one every night and then maybe like a couple a day. So if you're out there and you're looking at your cupboard, I want you to know this stuff is everywhere. It's everywhere. So they expose these cells to basically how much you would get in like one of these drinks. One. And they found that in those cells, the oxidative stress went up. And what that means is cells are producing more free radicals, which is the stuff that your body produces around inflammation. So the stevia, well, let's say the compound that's used in most stevia increased inflammation. Also, nitric oxide, which is super important. It's what helps your blood vessels relax and expand. It's really important for flexibility, reducing stiffness, blood flow. I mean, for men, this is being able to get it up. But it's also what allows us to breathe freely in our nose. So that nitric oxide that we need, that we're already losing as we age, went down. So stress and inflammation in the cells went up, nitric oxide went down, and guess what the cells did? They increased something called endothelin-1, which is a chemical that tells your blood vessels tighten up. OMG. Hello, Vata, right? Like here we are trying to eat healthy because we want to stay juicy and young for as long as possible. And if you're drinking and eating things with this stevia stuff, you're getting stiffer. What? No bueno. Number 4, it impaired clot breakdown, blood clots. So when you zoom out of this also connects to concerns we've seen in earlier research from the Cleveland Clinic that linked this stuff, erythritol, to higher cardiovascular risk. And why I had to do this podcast is I've got heart disease in my family. I bet all of you have some form of this stuff in your families. And then our family members, especially our elders, they're trying to eat better, so they take products with stevia. You know, for diabetics, a lot of diabetics are taking this stuff. So this is like really important that we, don't freak out, but know this research. So the researchers essentially said these changes could create a cellular environment that leans towards less blood flow, more constriction, and increased clotting risk, especially in your brain. Okay, so now I'm freaked out and you're freaked out, but let's be grounded. So this was an in vitro study of cells in a dish, not a whole human system that has its own metabolism and elimination pathways. So it's not proof, right, of anything, but it is a signal. And I think that is really important. Like if you're eating and drinking a lot of this stuff as I was, just cut it out for a while and see if you feel better. Another thing that's really important is that the industry is a little bit deceptive. So most products labeled stevia are not really stevia. They might have a little bit of that pure stevia extract, but that is the erythritol as the bulk sweetener. So when somebody says, I just use stevia, what they're actually saying is I use large amounts of erythritol daily. So big question. What is this in? And do you have it in your cupboard or your refrigerator right now? It's in a lot of protein powders, so please check your protein powder for stevia or erythritol. It should say one of those things. It's in a lot of electrolyte mixes. Like I was using these electrolyte packs that I thought I was using to like help me hydrate. It's also in a lot of like keto desserts and protein bars. It's in sugar-free chocolate. And so those are like some of the main ones, but it's also in these sodas that we might be drinking that claim to be sugar-free, like Stevia or some of the ginger beers and things like that. They have stevia in them. So anything that says sugar-free, you kind of want to read the label. It's also in a drink I see a ton of like fitness people drinking, which is called Celsius. It's like an energy drink that's supposedly like better for you. Yeah, full of stevia. So this stuff adds up quietly. Like if you're eating this all day, you really should take a look at this. Just try a couple months without it and see if you feel better. So what does Ayurveda say? Ayurveda says we actually need the sweet taste. We don't need to be sugar-free. We need grounding, building, and nourishing, and that's what the sweet taste does. But in order for it to be recognized as the sweet taste in the body, it has to be natural, recognizable, metabolically available, and integrated. So I thought I was having natural stevia, like in the wild, but I was having a lot of erythritol. It's not an intelligent sweet taste. It actually just simulates the taste and stimulates the taste of sweetness, but it doesn't actually deliver like that full energy bump of it. It's actually like a mismatch. And so what it does is it makes you crave more of it. It confuses Agni, our digestive intelligence. It disrupts our satiety signals, and it increases Vata imbalance because it's dry, light, and it's not sweet. It's not actually nourishing. And guess what? This can contribute to ama or metabolism residue over time. It's kind of like telling your body, hey, here comes the nourishment, and then delivering nothing. And so, the gap really, really matters, because then if you're like me, it's like, oh God, that didn't work. And so why am I craving more fats and sweets? Well, sweets is tied to, especially for women, ojas. This is our vital essence. It's our hormone stability. It's our nervous system safety. And so artificial or let's call it like non-nutritive sweetness taste can create a nervous system that just constantly feels unsatisfied. You can get subtle craving loops that for me can lead to later like dysregulation around food and pleasure, and I just like overeat. So it's not just like science and metabolism, it's like emotional and relational. So I don't want anybody to freak out and like, everybody chill. But if you have a Stevia or a erythritol protein powder, once a week or month, it's no big deal, but probably, I don't know, it could be a big deal, but probably not. But what can we use that's Ayurveda aligned for sweetness? And in moderation, raw honey is really, really good for you. Dates or even date syrup is super rich in minerals. It's grounding and satisfying to the nervous system. Maple syrup, great for some people. It does contain a lot of trace minerals, which is so wonderful. And then in India, they use a lot of something called jaggery, which is a very traditional Ayurvedic sweetener, and it supports iron and digestion when you use it appropriately, which is like in small amounts. So if you really need to be low glycemic, if you're diabetic, you might want to consider small amounts of monk fruit that's pure, no erythritol. And then occasionally stevia, but the clean, pure extract, not the blends. Ayurveda would even say just don't use it, too much. It's a false sweet taste. So I hope that you feel this podcast is not about fear. Your body is not just, a cell in a petri dish. It's an intelligent, sensing, responsive system. And sometimes the deeper question isn't, does this have calories? But is this really nourishing my system, my body, all of me, right? Your body knows the difference. Even if the labels don't tell the truth, your body will tell the truth. So yeah, I'm excited about this. I have been just like having a lot of it. So I'm going to test that out this month, getting all the stevia or erythritol out of my diet and going back to basics, just basics. If you got the sweet taste craving, eat some dates, eat some honey, eat some berries, eat some fruit. And I hope this was supportive for you. big special thanks to Kevin Carlisle of Goodbye Gemini, who wrote this beautiful podcast music, and to DJ Juan Pablo Jimenez in southern Spain for mixing it and making it magic.